Welcome back with a smiling face. Links to previous episodes are given in the video description, so don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video. Alpha's Alternative Bride. Episode 6. Isabella. I lifted the covers off Hunter's body and snuggled against him. I missed being this close to him, and after everything we've been through in the last couple of hours, I wanted to stick to him as much as possible. The doctor had just left and he informed us that Hunter would be completely healed in a few minutes. He'd injected him with something that was supposed to speed up the healing process, and I was desperate for it to start working. I froze when I felt his arms move from under me, and I gasped when they squeezed me tightly against him. "Isabella," he whispered as he stroked my hair. I lifted my head to stare at his handsome face. "You're awake?" I asked with hopeful eyes. He groaned. "What happened? I have this splitting headache and I can't remember." He paused and I paused along with him. Totally surprising me, he pulled away from me and fell straight off the bed with how quickly he'd moved. He quickly picked himself off the ground and moved backwards a bit. He stared at me like he couldn't believe I was there. "Something isn't right." He swallowed. "How are you? Alive? Or did I die?" he asked again. I shook my head. "You're alive, Hunter." His eyes widened and he looked as though he was scared that his mind was playing tricks on him. "Then what are you doing here with me? You didn't have a heartbeat and…" My heart broke at the pain mixed with sorrow that soon spread across his face. He looked as though he was remembering everything that had happened. He must still believe that he'd killed me. That disgusting Maggie was the reason for all of this. She had wanted to drive him to the point of no return, and he'd definitely gotten close to it. "You didn't kill me, Hunter," I promised him. He shook his head. "This can't be real. I'm dreaming this, aren't I?" he demanded. "There is no way you're alive." I picked myself off the bed and made my way towards him. His body tensed as I approached him, but he did not move. I grabbed his hand and placed it directly above my chest. His eyes widened and I knew that he could feel my heartbeat. "Feel my heartbeat? Feel how it beats for you and you alone. I'm alive, Hunter. Why would you ever think that you would ever hurt me? You've done nothing but protect me since the moment I entered your life. You saved me multiple times, so tell me, why would you ever think that you killed me?" "Isabella," he whispered, still in disbelief. "I saw you. I saw you lying on the ground and I was covered in your blood. I even had the dagger in my hand." "Forget what you saw," I insisted. "Instead, feel our bond and feel the love that we have for each other. And tell me, will you ever hurt me?" He stared at me now, like really stared. I felt all of the love and emotions flowing between us like a powerful cord holding us together. I could see all of the thoughts swirling in his beautiful eyes as he searched for the answer to my question. "No," he answered, and there was no doubt in his voice this time. I smiled. "There is your answer." "Oh," Lucy said at the doorway. "Hunter's awake, guys." No sooner had she said those words did my entire family come bolting through the door. "It's good to see you, man," Marcus said as he greeted him like never before. Austin nodded. "We're all happy that you're awake now." Hunter looked confused by their greetings, and I could tell that he was beginning to think that he was dead again. Thane walked in then and took a glance at me before he walked over to him. "I owe you an apology." I'm sorry for attacking you. I should have known that my sister's mate would never kill her. I hope that you'll be able to forgive me someday for what I've done. I was happy that my brother had apologized. It made me love him even more. Hunter still looked puzzled, and I knew that it was time to tell the truth to everyone. I think we are all ready to learn of the truth, Isabella. Austin said, as if reading my mind. We need to find out who took you, and we need to find out quickly so that we could get rid of them. I looked at Hunter and I didn't know how to break the news to him. I never liked Maggie, but he once loved her, and I knew that a small part of him still cared for her. It would completely break him to know of everything she'd done to him. She'd purposely let him suffer all of these years, and she was still trying her best to make him suffer. Why aren't you saying anything? He asked me as he took a few steps until he was standing right next to me. His eyes showed his love and affection for me, and I almost melted at the tenderness I saw there. It's okay. They can't harm you anymore. I won't let anyone take you from me again. I promise. A small, warm smile formed on my mouth as I stared lovingly at him. I lightly touched his cheek. I'm not scared for me. I know that I'm safe whenever you're around. I'm just worried about how you would take the news. I swallowed and finally built up the courage to tell him. We didn't have much time left to plan something to get back at Maggie for all she'd done to us. I needed to let everyone know now. Someone close to you is behind my kidnapping. Hunter frowned. He looked like he was searching his brain to find the person who could have possibly betrayed him. I knew he trusted the people around him and could never see anyone hurting him or the people he cared about. Tell me. He growled. I'll rip their heads off. Just say a name. I gently touched his neck and leaned closer into him. I wanted to help him get through this in any way that I could. It's Maggie. Hunter's eyes grew wide with shock, and I felt the tension on his body through my fingers. I could see multiple thoughts flowing through his mind as he tried to make sense of my confession. I was positive that she was the last person he was expecting me to say. Maggie? He asked in disbelief. I nodded as my gaze softened. Just as I had thought, the news totally crumbled him. Was it because I'd chosen to be with you instead of her? He inquired as he tried to understand why she'd kidnapped me. I shook my head. I also thought that was the reason at first, but Maggie has been planning all of this since she first met you. Hunter looked confused, and I could see why. I obviously wasn't making any sense to him. I'm sorry, Hunter. I knew how much you trusted her. But she's the one who's behind everything. She faked her death the first time. No one had even kidnapped her back then. It was all her plan to make you suffer. I don't think she ever accepted you as her mate. It's why she never wanted you to mark her, and it's why the bond between the two of you must have been broken. She probably rejected you when she chose to betray you. I paused for a moment after seeing the tension on his body. I was worried that he was going into a state of shock. This was what I was afraid of. I didn't know what could possibly be the right way to tell him the truth about Maggie. It was unfair that while she enjoyed seeing him in pain, he still cared for her. It showed who the real monster between the two of them was. It was her all along. She was the reason behind all of the bad things that ever happened to him. She had a lot of plans, Hunter. She wanted to see you suffer, and in the worst way possible. After she found out that we were mates and after she'd seen you mark me, she came up with this horrible plan. She placed me under a spell so that I would hurt you. I whispered as my lower lip started to tremble. Lucy and Eden covered their mouths in horror while Esma looked like she wanted to murder someone. Esma always knew that something was wrong with Maggie, but I was positive that she never thought that things were this bad. No one expected this from Maggie, and that was the most shocking thing of all. She had all of us completely fooled. That was her plan, for me to hurt you. Then the same witch that put me under the spell used a spell on you that knocked you out and made you think that you'd killed me. When you woke up I was already under the same spell Maggie was years ago. The spell that made all of you believe that she was dead and had been killed. When in truth she was just using that to get to you, to make you think that she was dead. I don't think she planned for Thane to come in and try and kill you, however. She wanted to be the one to get rid of you. She wanted you to suffer thinking that I was dead just like you had done with her. Hunter pulled back from me like I'd just slapped him hard across the face. His hands tightened to his sides and he looked like he wanted to punch something. His entire body trembled and it was becoming difficult for me to look at him when he was like this. He shouldn't ever have to deal with a betrayal as big as this one. Hunter did not deserve it. I don't understand. He whispered as his eyes searched mine for more answers. Why would she do that? Why would she betray me after everything? Why would she fake her death just to watch me suffer? The horror in his voice completely broke my heart. I wanted to see that woman cry and burn in hell for everything she'd done to Hunter. While I want to hear the rest of this story, if it is indeed Maggie behind all of this, then she's waiting to see the outcome of her plan. She could be planning another attack while we're all here talking, and I think that we should be prepared for it. Austin pointed out. She clearly had the help of a powerful witch, and that alone is dangerous. We need to act now for the safety of all of us. I don't want to put Lucy in any more danger while she's pregnant. But how do we get her to come out so that we could attack her? Thane asked. She's good at hiding. She did it for 5 years already, she could do it again. And if we let her go back into hiding, we don't stand a chance at catching her again. That will only leave Isabella's and Hunter's life in a mess, wondering when she will strike again. Everyone grew quiet at his words. It was true, Maggie had the help of a powerful witch that could come up with crazy spells whenever she liked. I saw the way her eyes had lit up with excitement after I'd broken her spell. It was almost like she was happy she'd finally been faced with a real challenge. Hunter and I would always be worried that she would pull a sick trick like this again if either she or Maggie remained alive. We needed to get rid of both of them some way or the other. This is what we will do, Hermano said as he approached us. The fight happened inside the house. Maggie isn't sure what's taking place inside of here. Isabella, we will have to use you as bait to get her out of hiding. She's most likely near and waiting to see the outcome of everything that she'd planned. You waking up from the spell wasn't part of her plan, and therefore we can use this to our advantage. We will announce to everyone that Hunter died and was killed by Thane. News travels fast, and I'm sure Maggie would be one of the first ones to hear of it since she'll be waiting for it. I'm sure she will try and see you then to confirm everything. We will be waiting for her, and there is where we will attack. Austin nodded. I actually like that plan. Yeah, James said. This might actually work, but we have to move fast. We've already lost a lot of time, and if we want her to believe this, we need to make it as believable as possible. Who will do the announcements? Marcus asked as he looked between us. I think it's best that Hunter's sister as well as some of his men do it. Hermano answered. But you need to make it look like you're mourning your brother's death. Maggie cannot know that we are laying a trap out for her. She must have known that Isabella broke the spell, so she would already think that we know she's behind of everything. But she would risk it all if she thinks Hunter is dead. She will want to confirm it. Esma nodded. Don't worry. I'll make it believable. She must pay for everything she's done to my brother, and I will make sure that she does. All right, it's set then. Austin confirmed. Esma, we need to start now. Let's go. Hunter's eyes were still in shock, and I watched in horror as he followed Austin and Esma out the door with my brother as well as James. I didn't know what he was planning on doing, and I had no idea how he would react when he finally saw Maggie again. I knew it was her from the moment I laid eyes on her. Eden hissed as soon as everyone exited the room. I wanted to respond to her, but I couldn't. Now that Hunter wasn't in the room, I was hit with something I never wanted to think of again. Hey, Lucy whispered as she touched my shoulder. What's wrong? She put me under a spell. She made me hurt him. I whispered as I felt the tears in my eyes again. Images of me stabbing Hunter flashed in my head, reminding me of what I'd done. The guilt was eating at me raw, and I didn't even know if I would ever be able to look at him the same again. I will always remember that I could have been the reason for his death. If I didn't wake up in time, I would have had to live with it for the rest of my life. That was something I wouldn't have even able to do. Knowing that I was the reason that my mate was dead. Lucy touched my shoulder. It's not your fault. These witches are extremely strong. I keep trying to tell Austin that it wasn't his fault when he was under a spell and couldn't recognize me sooner, just like this isn't your fault either. I wiped at the tears. I truly wanted to believe her words, but I couldn't. I should have been stronger, Lucy. I should have stopped the spell sooner, and I didn't. The main thing is that you did eventually stop the spell, and you did it when it mattered the most. I know you may see it as your fault, but it isn't. This is all Maggie's fault, and she wants you to think like this. You can't let her win. You need to forgive yourself and move on. Eden pressed. Hunter loves you and you love him. You're both alive and you have each other. Nothing else matters but that. You need to see that. Be thankful that you did wake up in time to save him. You may think that you were the one that put him in danger in the first place, but that's not true. The real threat is Maggie, and it always has been. If you weren't around, she would have found someone else to do the same thing for her, and that person might have gotten Hunter killed. You're the reason he is still here today, and you're the reason he still has a chance of being happy again. I peered at Eden through my wet eyelashes and gave her a sad smile. Even though I didn't think that I could ever forgive myself for what I've done, I knew that she was right about Hunter and I having a chance of happiness once we had each other. Hunter was still alive, and that was what should matter the most. Now I just needed to get rid of Maggie once and for all. My next aim was to make her pay. I needed to see her suffer just like Hunter had suffered because of her. Maggie, how could she have possibly broken free of your spells twice in one day? I snarled. Salem was supposed to be a powerful witch. She wasn't the best out there, but she was still extremely powerful. You may not like hearing this, but the love Isabella has for Hunter is truly something spectacular. I've never seen anything like it before. The power of her love managed to break the spell. Salem answered. I'm both angry and impressed. My body shook with rage. Because of your stupid spells we're now in this mess. If I can recall correctly, it was because of my spells that you even were able to stay hidden all of these years as well as fake your death. Never forget that I'm the reason many of your plans actually worked. Without me you would be nowhere and you know it. I glared at her. Now everyone must know that I was behind Isabella's disappearance. Hunter would know as well and he will come for me. I'm not prepared to fight him just yet. Not when so many people are around him. I need to go back into hiding immediately. Salem shook her head. We don't know if Hunter is still alive. Do we? The last we saw was Thane attacking him. He thinks Isabella is dead. He would let anyone kill him at this time. I narrowed my eyes. Hunter is too strong to die so easily. Would you really be saying that after you hear the announcements? I tensed. What announcements? She laughed. It seems like your work was done for you by someone else. Hunter is dead. He was killed by Thane. There will be a private ceremony held for him in the forest. Pain pierced through my heart at her words. You're lying. She shook her head. He's dead, Maggie. Hunter is finally dead. No. He couldn't be dead. I was the one that needed to kill him, not Thane. He was mine to kill. Mine. I needed to see him suffer and I needed him to know why. I needed him to know that he'd killed my brother. He couldn't be dead. There was no way that he would have died so easily. This can't be true. I need to see for myself. Salem raised a brow at me. Are you sure that's the smartest thing to do right now? She asked me. Everyone will be looking for you, especially Isabella. She would want you to suffer for killing Hunter and she has the support of everyone around her. I don't care. I hissed. I'm going there and I will find out the truth. He couldn't be dead. He couldn't. Hunter, my blood roared in my ears and the beast inside of me was hungry for revenge. My knuckles tightened as I prepared for what was to come. Something that should have happened a long time ago. Isabella's words kept replaying in my head over and over again. It was difficult for me to accept that Maggie had actually planned all of this even from the start. Did that mean she'd hated me all throughout our marriage? Was all of it really just a show she'd put on for me? I still couldn't figure out why she'd done it. Isabella hadn't gotten the chance to explain it to me, but I was still wrecking my brain while trying to find the answer. I couldn't see any reason why anyone at that time would ever find a reason to hate me. Maggie was definitely good at hiding her hatred for me. She was a professional at it, in fact. She'd fooled me every single step of the way and I'd fallen for it. I knew something was wrong with her story when she'd returned to me, but never once did I think for a second that she hated me so much that she would try to destroy my life like this. The crazy part was that she had been doing a very good job at it. While I was mourning her death, she was celebrating being alive and seeing me suffer. She must have been watching me all along. She must have laughed every time I made poor choices thinking that she was dead. She'd wanted me to destroy my life and I was granting her that wish. But all that had changed when Isabella had entered my life. Isabella had shown me what it felt like to be happy again. She was a bright light that I'd stuck to like glue. Since the first moment my eyes had fallen on her, I'd known that she would be someone important in my life. I'd pushed her away like a fool and I'd almost lost her because of it. And the whole reason I had pushed her away in the first place was because of Maggie. I was so scared after what I'd gone through with Maggie that I didn't want to fall for Isabella. What a fool I'd been. Maggie must have realized that I was falling for Isabella. She must have realized that I was beginning to feel happy again, and that was when she'd decided to strike again. I was so stupid all of this time. I should have known. I should have sensed something was wrong when she'd shown up as soon as Isabella and I were ready to start something between us. She'd timed everything perfectly. No wonder she was so happy when Isabella had left me because of her. She'd gotten her plan to work and she was happy about it. She'd wanted me to give up Isabella, it's why she'd kept insisting on me choosing her. It's why she'd gotten upset whenever Isabella and I were close. It wasn't because it was hard for her to see me with another woman, it was because it was hard for her to see me happy. Everything was beginning to make sense now and it only made me feel angrier. How could I have let this woman play me so dirty? I've always been good at sniffing out liars and betrayers, but yet I'd totally missed the biggest crook in my life. I should have known that Isabella would never hurt me. She had always been loving in the past despite everything I'd done to her. She was always concerned about my well-being. It was shocking for me to witness her stabbing me over and over again, but I never once hated her for it. I just thought that she'd had enough of me. I thought that she was finally getting her payback for what I'd put her through in the past. When I'd seen that first tear fall from her cheeks, I knew that she was breaking her own heart every time she hurt me. I understood that it was because of our bond. Hurting me would hurt her, but I felt like she had to do it to get what I'd done to her out of her system. Not once did I think that she was under a spell, and I should have known this. I should have known that Isabella was not the kind of person to do anything like that to someone that she loved. And she did confess to loving me. I should have figured it out after she'd gone missing and then showed up like that. I was just in so much shock that it completely slipped my mind. Then Maggie played that death trick on me for the second time. First it was using her and then it was using Isabella. Only this time she upped her game. She made me think that I was the one that had killed Isabella. I didn't think that it was possible for me to ever hate someone as much as I did right now. Maggie must pay. She must pay for everything she's done, not just to me, but to Isabella as well. The biggest mistake she could have ever made was to hurt Isabella. I would find her, and when I did, it was over. Isabella, I sighed. It was time for some acting. It shouldn't be hard for me to pretend as though I'd just lost Hunter. All I had to do was to keep remembering how it had felt when I'd stabbed him over and over again with no control over my body. My sisters hugged me as we all pretended to mourn Hunter's death. We kept the coffin completely closed at all times. All we had was a picture of Hunter on top of it. Maggie wouldn't have an idea of how Hunter had died. Thane would have had to rip his head off his body, and she could think this was the reason that the casket was left closed. If she wanted to see his dead body for herself, she would have to come here eventually, and I just needed to wait for that to happen. Why? I cried. Why did you leave me, Hunter? I screamed. Shhhh, Eden whispered as she held onto me tightly. It's going to be okay. No. I screamed. He can't leave me. Hunter can't leave me. I was surprised by my own acting. Everything sounded so real and the raw emotion in my voice was definitely there as well. Esma dropped to the ground near the coffin and started to cry and scream just like I was doing. This was good. We were going great and I was living for it. I had to fight back the smile at just thinking about Maggie falling into our trap. Eden leaned forward and gave me a soft kiss on my head. You'll be okay. We're all here for you, sister. After the small ceremony, everyone started to leave one by one. Eventually it was just Esma and I left and we continued to act as though we would die without Hunter. I hugged her and she hugged me as the tears flowed down our cheeks. A half an hour later and I was beginning to worry that Maggie was not going to show up. Is he really dead? I stiffened and so did Esma. We both turned to see Maggie in front of us. Her hair was in a mess and it looked as though she'd been in a very bad place. I understood why. Maggie was so sick and lost in her own little world of wanting to get revenge that she didn't want Hunter to be dead. She wanted to be the one to kill him and now that she believed someone else had done it, it was completely freaking her out. Tell me. She screamed. Is he really dead? Why don't you come and see for yourself? Esma questioned. You have some nerve showing up here after everything you've done to my family. Maggie ignored her and took a few steps forward. Is he dead? Esma walked forward and slapped Maggie so hard across her face that she fell to the ground holding her cheek. That's for my brother. Esma hissed. Before Maggie could say anything else, my brothers as well as my sisters and their mates surrounded us. Maggie looked around her, realizing that she was now trapped. She picked herself off the ground as she looked for a way to escape from all of us. I smiled then. Of course he isn't. I finally answered. Did you really think that Hunter would ever die so easily? Did you really think that your little plan would actually separate us? Maggie's eyes widened and she lifted her hand to slap me when Hunter reached us with incredible speed and grabbed her hand, stopping her from hurting me. She turned to face him and they both glared at each other. There was so much hatred between them that it was almost crazy to believe that they were once mates. Let go of me, Hunter. She hissed. Hunter, I no longer loved Maggie, but at a point in my life I did greatly. To know that someone that I loved would do all of these things to kill me was painful to accept. What did I do to deserve this from her? I'd given her nothing but love and support. What could I have possibly done for her to hate me this much? I could see the hate in her eyes now, the hate she'd managed to keep from me all of the times we've been together. So this was the real Maggie. This was the Maggie that I should have known from the start. Why did you? I asked as I let go of her arm, but only after shoving her away from Isabella. I didn't want her close to her. Not after the little stunt she'd just played. You killed my brother! She screamed at me. I frowned, her words puzzling me. Killed? Her brother? You don't have a brother. I responded naturally. She'd told me that she didn't have any siblings or any parents. That was also a lie? Her eyes narrowed. Does the name Axel ring a bell? She demanded. You tore my brother's body into pieces like he was nothing. You took the closest person in my life away from me. Axel? Recognition finally touched me like a strike of lightning. Of course I remembered who Axel was. He was that sick that had tried to rape my sister. He attempted to rape her, but there were multiple women that he did actually rape and kill. Your brother was a piece of shit. I growled. He raped multiple women and even killed some of them when he found out that they were pregnant. I killed him because he tried to rape my sister. If I didn't arrive there on time, she may not have been here today. He was a sick that didn't deserve to live. Maggie looked unbothered by my words. She had no feelings for those women that had lost their lives, no feelings for my sister. I understood that now. She was selfish and only cared about herself and what she felt. You had no right to take him from me. She screamed again. I took a step in her direction and stared straight into her eyes with a lethal gaze. If I could kill him again, I would. My words sparked the fire in her, and within seconds she lunged for my throat. But she didn't get a chance to reach me. I grabbed her by her throat before she got a chance to do the same to me. I squeezed tightly with all of the rage and pain of betrayal I felt flowing between us. Meeting you was the worst thing that ever happened to me. I snarled as I lifted her into the air with my hands still strangling her. You will die today, Maggie. I roared. And not for what you did to me, but for what you did to Isabella. I will see to it that you suffer. Isabella, I didn't want Hunter to live with the fact that he'd killed a woman that was once his mate. He shouldn't have to live with that for the rest of his life. I watched as he continued to strangle her, and I knew I had to cut in. I grabbed Maggie by her hair and pulled her away from Hunter. This was my fight. I wanted her gone, and I was going to do it myself. Let go of me. Maggie screamed as I continued to pull her. I wanted to rip the hair out of her head in the most painful way possible. In fact, I think I'd already done so to some of it. I could see a few strands falling to the ground, and this was only just the beginning. Now I understood why Hunter had killed her brother. He'd tried to rape his sister. He was a monster just like Maggie was. I knew that Hunter would have never done something like that without a good reason, and this was a good one. Even I would have killed someone that had tried anything that sick with any of my sisters. Hunter had done what any good brother would have done. I was proud of him. He was everything an alpha male needed to be like. You're truly a sickening being. I spat at Maggie. All of these years you've hated Hunter for something that you should have thanked him for. Your brother was a sick, and Hunter did the right thing by getting him out of this world. You had no reason to hate him when he'd loved you so much. You have no idea what you've lost, and maybe you never will know. But know this, I'll love him so much that he'll forget everything you've ever done to him. I'll love him so much that you'll just be a distant memory to him. I'll love him so much that he will forget about you and your brother and your sick ways. I shouted, my words shaking the entire forest with my promises. I'll show him what a true mate is, and I'll give him everything he ever wanted while you rot in hell. Maggie hissed at my words, and she tried to reach for me again, but I pulled away just in time. I pulled harder on her hair this time, right before I slammed her face against the ground. I turned to Esma. Do you want to join in? Esma smiled. Gladly. Esma grabbed onto half of her hair while I held onto the other half. We both picked her off the ground and slammed her against a tree. Maggie cried out, and Esma rolled her eyes. Is this painful for you, Maggie? She asked. Because this is nothing compared to what you've put my brother through. Now you're going to die while he gets to start a family with Isabella. Never! Maggie screamed. He will never be happy. Never! Would someone like to tell her already? Esma asked. Because clearly she doesn't realize that Hunter is already happy now that he has Isabella in his life. I hate you! Maggie hissed. I hate all of you! Esma and I gave each other knowing looks as she let go of her. I think you should finish her off, Isabella. Show her the power of a true mate. I smiled and dragged Maggie all over the hard ground. Gladly. You will never get away with this. Maggie screamed. I have people that are coming and they will kill all of you. I don't think so, Maggie. I said. Can you not see how many powerful people I have on my side? The only reason you got this far is because you were in hiding. Now that you're out in the open, it's over. You may have been his mate once, but he never marked you and he never wanted to do it as much as he had wanted to mark me. You may think that you were winning all along when the truth was you were only playing yourself. When you rejected Hunter, you gave us a chance to be together, and that's the best thing you could have ever done for him. All of these years you've just been preparing him for a better life without even knowing it. Congratulations, Maggie, you're the reason why Hunter and I love each other today. You're the reason why we have someone that we don't ever want to live without. It's all thanks to you. Maggie screamed and kicked in frustration below me, and I kept on talking. My words were doing exactly what I wanted it to do. I needed her to see that she'd actually lost this fight. If she saw it my way, if she saw what she'd done, it would kill her inside. She would realize that she was actually losing all along, and that's exactly what I wanted her to see. I knew this would bother her more than anything else, knowing that she was the reason why Hunter and I could finally be happy together. It was the last thing she wanted, and I would be the one to happily tell it to her over and over again. I don't know everything in this life, but I do know one thing. I'll be a better mate to him than you ever were. I shouted as I picked her up from the ground and slammed her straight back down. Maggie let out a scream and shifted into a reddish wolf right in front of me. I didn't waste any time. My wolf was ready to slaughter her. She'd been waiting for this day, and it was finally here. I narrowed my eyes and shifted just as fast as she had done. Our wolves circled each other as both of us waited for the right time to attack. Maggie lunged for me first and I dodged her attack. I'd had a lot of training from my brothers, and even though I wasn't out on the battlefield as much as they'd been, I could still defend myself in a battle. Especially in a battle against a woman I hated. I was playing with her. I wanted her to see that I could win her any day in a fight. She was no match for me. I would always be better than her in everything. Hunter had gotten an upgrade. I would always strive to be a better mate than she'd ever been. He deserved that. He deserved to be loved the proper way. I kept dodging her attacks until I'd gotten bored of it. I stayed still and waited for her to attack me again. Her wolf was getting frustrated. I could sense it. That's what I wanted to happen. And then something strange happened, something that had my wolf staggering back. I let out a howl of pain as I felt a pain pierce through me. What was this splitting pain in my head? Then I recognized it immediately. It was that witch again. I tried to ignore it, but it was hard to do, and Maggie had the advantage now as she made a grab for me. My wolf staggered back once more from the force of her attack. Get the witch! I heard Hunter roar. I tried to concentrate despite the pain, but it was hard and Maggie had an advantage over me now. I felt relief flow through my body as the pain eventually stopped, and I knew why. Hunter, as well as my brothers, was taking care of her. I could hear her screams behind of me, and it was like music to my ear. That witch deserved to die just as much as Maggie deserved to die. I looked up just in time to see Maggie's wolf come down on me. She bit down on my back and I let out a cry at the sudden pain and blood that flowed out of me. I shoved her away from me and she crashed straight into a tree and cracked the thing in half with the force of my throw. I didn't wait for her to recover as I jumped into the air and landed straight on top of her. And then I did what I'd wanted to do for so long. I started to rip apart her body like a beast hungry for revenge. Maggie's screams and cries did not stop me, it only fueled my need to get rid of her. Finally it was over. She was unconscious and there wasn't any crying anymore. But I needed to make her death official. I needed to make sure that she never returned to cause trouble in our lives again. My wolf lifted her head to the sky and let out a mighty roar of victory right before she reached down and ripped the wolf's head from her body in one beautiful go. After everything she'd done to us, her death was too easy. I wanted to make her suffer like Hunter had suffered. But she did suffer. She was so lost in revenge that she'd lost her life along the way. She'd wasted her life holding on to old resentments and now it was all over. Death had touched her and she didn't get the revenge she had so desperately wanted. Since she didn't get the one thing she wanted more than anything, it was like her life was useless. I'd seen the look on her wolf's face as she breathed her last breath. She couldn't believe that I was actually going to her. She couldn't believe that she was about to die by Hunter's mate. What a way to die! She'd breathed her last breath knowing that Hunter was alive and would be happy. It was the one thing that she never wanted him to be, and now that he had me and she wasn't here to stir up any more trouble, we were both bound to live a good life. Have fun with your brother in hell. I heard Esma shout behind of me. I was contented with her death and so was my wolf. I slowly shifted back into my human form and Hunter picked me up into his arms and crushed me against him. I happily wrapped my arms around his neck and held onto him closely. I love you, he whispered as he kissed my cheeks and forehead. I happily accepted his kisses and leaned into him. Just a few hours ago I'd hurt him badly. He'd thought that I had turned against him for some reason. We could have both lost each other. My brother could have killed him and he would have let him, thinking that I was dead and that he was the one responsible for it. There were so many directions that things could have taken, but thankfully this was the way it had turned out for us. If I'd awakened to find Hunter murdered by my own brother, I would have never been able to live with myself. My brother wouldn't have been able to look me in my face either, knowing that he'd killed my mate. I love you too, Hunter. I cried. I'm so sorry for what I've done to you. I'm so sorry. I apologized. I didn't get a chance to tell him how sorry I was for everything I'd done. He didn't deserve anything that had happened. Hey, he shushed me. Do not apologize. I must. I insisted. I should have been stronger. Instead I stabbed you multiple times and I'll always see myself doing that to you. I knew that from today onwards I would continuously have nightmares about today. Hunter pulled my hair back so that I was forced to stare at him straight in the eye. This was all Maggie's doing. Everything that happened was her fault. Not yours. He insisted. Promise me that you will forget about it. Promise me. I can't. He leaned his forehead against mine. Do you love me? I nodded. Then promise me. I didn't know how to make a promise that I wasn't sure that I would be able to keep, but I was willing to do anything for him. I promise. I looked behind of us to see that everyone had left Hunter and me alone to give us some privacy, and I was grateful for that. Hunter crushed me to him and held me close. I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you, Isabella, you and our beautiful baby. I stiffened and pulled away from Hunter in shock. Did he just say our baby? Isabella, I'm pregnant. I whispered with eyes full of hope and joy. I knew a small part of me thought that I was, but to actually hear that it was true was another story. My heart was pumping and I wanted to jump with joy. I was pregnant, and not with just any baby, I was pregnant with Hunter's baby. To me that was the greatest blessing, to be pregnant with his child. Hunter slowly nodded to confirm my question. Almost immediately I had images of us holding our baby together. I couldn't imagine Hunter with a child in his arms, but I knew it would be the most beautiful scene ever. He was so loving and caring when it came to me that I knew that he would be the same with our child. He would love and protect him or her, and I was excited for that day to come. Hunter was looking at me and studying my reaction to his words. His eyes were guarded, and I wondered if he was worried that I wouldn't want our baby. That would be crazy to even consider. I would jump at an opportunity to have his baby. In fact, I didn't just one baby with him, I wanted to have many children. Isabella? Hunter asked hesitantly as he took a step in my direction. I started to grin then, and Hunter paused midway. He looked completely stunned and dazzled by my smile. I didn't wait for him to say anything else as I threw myself into his arms. He caught me good and tightened his hold around me. I'm so happy! I cried. I want to have your baby so badly. This is the best news ever. Hunter held my head, almost like he was cradling it with his hands, and he leaned into me so that his lips were close to where he'd marked me. I shuddered against his hold and felt myself grow hungry for him. You're amazing! Hunter whispered against my neck. I want us to have a proper mating ceremony. Your family will be present along with my sister and my men. I nodded against his strong hold around me and felt myself melt into his embrace. I can't believe this is real. I can't believe that I finally have you all to myself. Hunter kissed my hair and tightened his hold around me. I can't believe it either. I don't even want to fall asleep from today onwards. I'll be too scared that it's all a dream and I'll wake up from it. I was surprised to hear such a confession from Hunter. He never liked anyone to think that he was vulnerable, but yet he easily told me what scared him. I smiled against his chest and laid a soft kiss right there. Don't be scared to fall asleep, my mate. I'll be there in your dreams as well. I promise. Hunter chuckled and picked me up in his arms. I love you so much, sweetheart. You're everything a man could ever want and so much more. Hunter's eyes traveled down my body hungrily and he looked like he wanted to eat me alive. Must you be so beautiful in everything that you wear? I laughed as he grabbed me and threw me down on the bed with him right above me. We need to get down to the ceremony. Everyone is waiting on us. He lowered himself and kissed my chest and I moaned with how good it felt. Everyone can wait. We need to go. Do you feel how much I want you, Isabella? You promised that you would give me whatever I want. I want you. Now. I need you. I swear I saw stars with the rush of emotions that almost blinded me. I missed having him this close and I would always treasure this day and this moment between us. Isabella. You're a enchantress. He hissed. I want to stay here forever. I love you, Isabella. I love you too, Hunter. I love you so much. And I will always love you. All eyes were on us and I felt a blush creep up my neck. I was sure that everyone could tell why we were late with the smug looks on their faces. Are you ready? Hunter asked me as he laid me down on the blankets. There were candles all around us, even floating candles on the river next to us. It was extremely beautiful, especially since it was night. I'm always ready for you. I whispered as he positioned himself on top of me. I felt joy as Hunter bit down on my marking spot for the second time. His pack howled once more and it was the most beautiful ceremony I'd ever attended, even though it was mine. Or maybe it was the fact that it was mine that made it so beautiful. I held onto his head and allowed the rush of emotion that soon followed. Even though I had an idea of what to expect, the feeling still managed to blow me off my feet. We turned so that I was now on top of him and his eyes shone with the bright moonlight above us. There were so many stars in the sky tonight and it reflected in his eyes in a spectacular way. I think it's time that all the ladies know that you belong to me. I teased as I leaned down and licked his neck. Hunter growled below me. Keep that up and I'll take you in front of everyone here without a care in the world. I laughed and bit down on his marking spot before he could say anything else. I felt him grow hard beneath me and I wanted to rub myself against him but needed to remind myself that we had an audience. Hunter gripped the back of my head and pushed me tighter against him and I loved every bit of it as I bit down harder than before. I felt pure love and a feeling of calmness and fulfillment flow throughout my entire body. This feeling was unlike any feeling in the entire world. I felt like I was up in space swimming with the stars and I never wanted to come back down. The sound of Hunter's pack howling was like music to my ear and it was the perfect sound to listen to along with the sound of the flowing river right next to us. When it was over, Hunter's pack was back to their human form and they were all surrounding us with grins on their faces. Welcome to the pack, Luna Isabella, they said as they all dropped to their knees in front of me. I'd never felt like I belonged somewhere as much as I did right now. It finally felt like I had a loving home where people welcomed me with open arms. This was everything and I had only Hunter to thank for that. After the ceremony, everyone came to congratulate us one by one and I was so happy that Hunter had planned all of this for us. It was a beautiful ritual and everyone should be blessed with something as amazing as this. You kicked today, sis. Marcus praised me. I never knew our sister could fight so well. Lutheus said in amazement. What did you guys expect when I was the one who trained her? Marcus teased. Marcus. Thane growled. What? Marcus asked. I'm only speaking the truth. My brothers all glared at him and he grinned in return. Okay, maybe the rest of them had a part to play in it as well. I think we have Hunter to thank for that. Hermano cut in. Our sister has been a lot stronger ever since she's met you. Hunter shook his head. She's always been strong. He disagreed as he gazed at me with pride and joy. Move it, boys, this is not something we want to see here, the big mighty Hunter all mushy and shit. Marcus noted as he and the rest of my brothers moved away to give us some privacy. I stifled a laugh as I watched my brothers leave. Hunter pulled me against him and I pushed me back against his erection. He'd been hard for some time now because of the mating ritual and I'd been teasing him the entire night. He hissed. As soon as this is over I'm taking you back to the house. I blushed and leaned my head against his chest. What do we have to do there? I asked innocently. He covered my neck with his mouth and another moan left my mouth. I'll show you when we go home, sweetheart. I grinned at his words. I couldn't wait to go home. To our home. Mine and Hunter's. Epilogue. The end. Isabella, we were back home now and it was just my sisters and their mates here with us along with Esma. Everyone else had left. Are you happy? Hunter asked as he wrapped his arms around my waist and pulled my body tighter against his. I snuggled into his warmth and felt my happiness intensify greatly. How can you ask me that? I whispered. Everyone can see just how happy you've made me. I can't remember ever being this happy in my entire life and it's all because of you. He chuckled and gently kissed my hair. Can you imagine having a daughter like you? She's going to be a handful. I frowned. I'm not a handful. I can name a few times you've put your life in danger and made me insane with worry. Let's pray our daughter doesn't do the same to us. I wouldn't worry if she ends up having a mate like her father. Hunter instantly growled. I rather not think of my unborn child having a mate. I inwardly beamed at his words. I couldn't wait to experience everything with Hunter. I was sure that he would give our daughter's mate a hard time. If our child is a boy, I want him to be just like you. Hunter slowly turned me around to face him. Really? I nodded and cupped his cheek in my hand. You're perfect to me. You've shown me exactly what a true mate is supposed to be like. You're everything any woman ever hopes her mate to be like. You're powerful and brave. You don't fear anything except your mate being hurt. You're loving and caring and you make me feel like I'm the only woman in this entire world. I have no doubt that you will be an amazing father to our children. I'm so lucky to have you. I know you'll rather forget about Maggie and your time with her, but I'm still grateful that she did what she did. I know it may sound selfish, but it gave me a chance at having you and I wouldn't trade that for anything. Hunter smiled then and it was the brightest smile I'd ever seen on him before. I felt like I could keep staring at it for hours and hours. In fact, I think I drowned in that smile. You're the best thing that has ever happened to me, Isabella. I wish I'd met you earlier. Everything in my life became brighter the moment you entered my life. He admitted. I smiled and felt. Hunter hissed and closed his eyes with the pleasure from my touch. I gasped when he finally did open his eyes and they were dark with lust. After your sisters leave I can't wait to have you all to myself. He whispered hungrily. I blushed. I couldn't wait to have him all to myself as well. When are you lovebirds going to join the rest of us? Lucy called over to us. I laughed and slowly pulled away from Hunter so that I could look at my sister. She was looking at us with a happy gleam in her eyes and it felt so good to see my family look so much at peace. We walked over to the rest of the family and took a seat on the chair next to them. Austin and Lucy were seated next to each other and so were Eden and James. Esma was in the middle of both couples and she looked like she had a lot on her mind. I knew what she was thinking. I remembered being around my sisters and their mates and hoping to have someone to love me the way their mates loved them. I didn't think that it was possible for me, but then Hunter proved to be just as loving. Even more. I was positive that things would work out for Esma as well. Maybe she would get a chance at another mate just like Hunter had gotten one. We had to wait and see. I never thought I'd live to see the day that we're socializing with Hunter Miller. Austin said with a chuckle. Oh, how times have changed. I never thought I'd live to see the day that I'd be willingly surrounded by your family either. Hunter responded. We heard a door open and turned just in time to see a familiar face. Look, it's Lucas! Lucy shouted with joy. We didn't think that the Blackners would let you come, she said as she rushed to his side. I was shocked at how quickly Lucy moved with her big baby bump. I couldn't blame her, however. Everyone was very fond of Lucas and I'm sure they all have missed him greatly. Something wasn't right, however. He looked like something bad had just happened and I think everyone in the room felt the tension. What's wrong? Austin asked as he studied his brother's tensed stance. Maya's missing. James and Austin immediately jumped up from their seats and faced their brother with a penetrating gaze. What do you mean she's missing? She's gone. He snapped. He looked like he'd been through hell and he definitely wasn't his free-spirited self. Mother and Father gave me the news. She's been missing since you guys left to find Isabella. Lucy gasped and walked up to gently touch Austin on his shoulders to offer her support to him. I don't understand. James growled. Who could have possibly taken her and what do they want with our sister? Austin shook his head. We can't catch a break around here. He growled. We need to gather our packs and carry them home to join in a search to get her back to us. If she's been missing for so long already, then whoever has her must have taken her far by now. We have no idea where to start searching and she could be anywhere. James spat angrily. Why didn't our parents inform us of her disappearance sooner? Don't blame them. Lucas cut in. They thought that she would have returned home by now. They weren't thinking that she could have been taken by someone. It's not their fault. We need to hurry up though, enough time has been lost. Will you be able to come with us? Austin asked Lucas. He shrugged his shoulders and offered a sly grin. I may or may not have left the Blackners' residence without telling them. They will probably come looking for me to take me back, but by then hopefully we will already have Maya back. Lucy shook her head at him. They'll soon learn that they can't keep you on lockdown, won't they? He grinned. I'm sure you missed that about me, sis-in-law. Come on, guys. James said. We don't have any more time to waste. Isabella, we're so happy that you can have a good life now. We were all worried, but now we can sleep peacefully knowing that you have the love of someone as great as Hunter. Lucy said her goodbyes to me as they all got ready to leave. We're coming with you. Hunter cut in. All of us looked at him in shock. I never expected him to agree to help them. I knew that he loved me and that he was a good person, but I didn't think he would be so normal with my family so quickly. It made me extremely happy. We will help find her. Hunter promised. He gently touched my shoulders and wrapped his arms around me to show his support. Let's go gather up all of the packs. We will be able to cover a larger area with all of us. I can have my friend get his people to help us as well. He informed them. Austin walked forward towards us and stopped a few inches away from Hunter. "Thank you. I will remember this." Hunter shook his head. "This is just a small favor after everything you've done for Isabella and I. You have my support always." Lucy and I gave each other happy smiles at seeing our mates form a bond just like we had with each other. I didn't know what troubles we had ahead of us, but I knew as long as I had my family and Hunter by my side I would be able to get through it all. Hunter kissed my forehead softly and pulled me closer into his embrace. "I love you, Isabella." "I love you too," I whispered as I snuggled into his embrace. He smiled warmly down at me. "Let's go find Maya." I nodded. It was time to find Maya. The end. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description.